Coming at you guys with a new background, sort of. I have some extra lighting that I'm finally decided to put up today. So, all right, here we go. 3, 2, and so writing is hard. It's especially hard when you get overwhelmed by everything you want to do for this big story that you have, and you don't know what to do with it. So let's talk about it. This is Kathleen Lyons here at the Magic Library, and today we're going to be going back to the basics. So before we get started, a bit of a shameless book plug. Animae Nexum, the companion novel to our Borealux, is officially dropping April 26th to share its birthday. Stick around to the end of the video. I will be showing off the cover, and I'll also be giving some announcements. And if you're in Fultondale on April 18th, I will actually be selling advanced copies there at the Impact Book Festival. So save the date and get the companion novel to read it from a stylist's point of view. Also, for you guys who are not going to be able to make it to the Impact Book Festival, Animae Nexum is actually up for pre-order right now on Amazon and on my store. You can pre-order the book on my shop until April 17th. I also have some new additions going on to my shop. I have new stickers, some buttons, and even some acrylic charms that you guys have actually asked me to design. The link for the Magic Library shop is down in the description below. Alright, so book and shop announcements are out of the way. Let's get on into the subject. So let's talk about writing and how you actually get started. Before you even get started writing your story, you need to get a list of fundamentals down. When it comes to the story that you want to tell, it's good to have a checklist of all the stuff that you need before you actually start putting pencil to paper or you start typing on a computer. A bit of a disclaimer, this is a guide that I typically use. It can vary depending on how you write and what your writing style is. So here's my checklist. I have a character list, a basic premise, a setting, base world building, and the ending of your story. This list may seem a bit simple and a bit counterintuitive in some places, but there is reasoning behind this. It's more meant to be a base to work off of and can be subject to change. And if it is, that's completely fine. Much like the first draft of your story, it's not supposed to be set in stone right away. So let's talk about each item on this list. First thing up is your character list, and it is, as the name suggests, this is a list of your characters in your story. And for each character on your list, you should at least have the name and a basic physical description. You can add in some extra details as to what their character is like, as like personality, their background, and some other stuff as you continue on in your story. That's typically how it works for me. Character list is meant to be a reference for your character's descriptions when you're writing your story. Number 2 is the premise, and it's just as important as the characters in your story. It's the basic lifeline. It's what your story is about. Even if you're a discovery writer, before you start writing, it's probably best to have the premise at least written down, even if it is subject to change. The premise of your story is the collection of ideas that you have that all work together. Here is a perfect example. A dark fantasy story where a girl manifests into existence and has to learn what it means to be what she is while falling for a moody yet protective Dampier love interest and outsmart a villain based on Jack the Ripper is technically the premise for my debut novel, Our Borealux, but I didn't really put that premise into words until literally a year ago when I started selling my books at events. The premise is basically your elevator pitch. It's what you say to people to get them hooked on your story. Like I said before, like your first draft, this is not meant to be written in stone right away. It can be subject to change as you do your world building. But we'll get into world building into a later video. Number 3 is setting, and there's really not much to say about this that you guys probably don't already know. If you remember anything from your literature and writing classes in school, then you already know what setting is. It's the world where your story takes place, and it's just as important as your characters when it comes to story growth. If you're a discovery writer like me, it typically tends to grow as you write your story. As your story progresses, your setting will change, especially as your characters interact with it and each other. Most people come up with the basic setting during their first world building session. But speaking of world building, that is number 4. Before you even get started on writing, you probably will be doing some basic world building just to get the ideas down. When you have this mixing bowl of ideas, you get to think a lot about the world of your story, the history, the lore, and other details. Just like the setting and your characters, your world building will grow as you write. And this goes for whether you are a planner like an outliner, or you're like me and a discovery writer. The last thing on this list is a bit odd, but it is an important thing to consider as you're writing. That fifth and last thing is the ending of your story. The ending of your story is just as important as the beginning of it, and much like taking a trip, it's important to at least know where you're going. Or in the case of writing, it's best to have an idea of where you're going. Even as a discovery writer, having an idea of how you want your story to end is important to how you write that story. If you know where you're going, you have at least a few ideas of how to get there. This is a bit of a weird analogy, but thinking about the ending of your story in conjunction with your beginning is pretty much like those circular mazes that you see in puzzle books. Sometimes it's easy to start at the end of the maze and work your way backwards. So to wrap everything up and everything, here is your tip of the week. Give yourself time to cook. Don't rush into your ideas when it comes to writing. Like I said before, this list is not meant to be set in stone right from the get-go. It's the base and guideline for how you write your story, and as you write, things will change. I know I've said it a whole lot in this video, but it's true. As you write and get to know the world and your characters, your understanding of it changes. And that's completely okay. As you write and edit, change is perfectly normal. Stories aren't always meant to be finished right when you finish that first draft. And even after that, stories aren't always finished in your brain. For example, when I was first writing Arborea Lux, I wasn't going to plan on a companion novel or even a sequel trilogy afterwards. They're ideas that came later on, and when I was thinking about them, it was easy to think about, and they were very, very fun to think about. And the world just grew from those like simple little ideas. I mean, look at me now. I am 5 books into this world and I'm still learning about it every single time I work on something for this world. Getting so obsessed with your world as you work on it and finding little details and everything is probably the best part of writing, and it's very much like a drug. Little PSA, don't do drugs like Stephen King did, but still have fun with it. All right, we're going to leave the video right here for now. We'll get more into this list and how you can come up with these things later on in the series, so stick around for more videos. If you have any questions, don't forget to leave them down in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share this with other aspiring authors. Also, if you have more questions or if you just want to chat with me and some other fellow authors, you can come to the Inkweaver Clan Discord server. The link for that is in the description below. And you can join there for exclusive merch pulls, sneak peeks of stuff that I'm working on, writing groups, and a funny meme or two. As I said before, the link for the Discord server is right in the description below. If you're interested in any of my books or wanting to see some of my stickers and some of my artwork, you can check them all out on my shop. I have signed copies of my book as well as book merch boxes, which include a signed copy of the book or books depending on the set, a series of 5 prints that I drew for the series, 2 bookmarks, and a sticker pack that I also designed. I also have a deal going on where you can customize your own sticker pack for $5. And one more also, right now I have a deal going on that you can get 15% off all your orders when you use the code AstraBlood15 on my shop. Link for that coupon code is also down in the description. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. This has been Kathleen Lyons here at the Magic Library, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.